Welcome to Choice Classic Radio, where we bring to you the greatest old-time radio shows. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and thank you for donating at choiceclassicradio.com.
The Columbia Workshop, under the direction of William N. Robeson, presents Alice in Wonderland. The Columbia Workshop tonight essays a new type of experimentation with this, the first part of its dramatization of Lewis Carroll's classic, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. The music, which has been specially written for the broadcast by Lee Stevens and Paul Starrett, will function not only as radio music usually does in setting scenes and moods, but will also suggest various sound effects. Mr. Robeson, guest director, who adapted and is directing this production, and Irving Reese, the permanent director of the workshop, would like to know what you, the listener, thinks about it. The Columbia Workshop presents Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland, a fairy story of the 19th century, a bit of gossamer flimsy, a fantasy for children.
Alice, a fairy story peopled with human beings, animals that talk like men. Do they mirror men who act like animals? I do not know. I merely wrote a simple story about a little girl for a little girl. Half the world has for 72 years called it childish nonsense. The other half, significant social satire. To me, it has always been simply Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice, don't fidget so. I beg your pardon, sister, but it is so very dull today. Isn't it tea time yet? Not quite. We'll go in to tea when I finish the chapter I'm reading. Why don't you go and pick some daisies? Oh, it's so dreadfully hot to pick daisies. Sister, look, down there in the grass, a white rabbit. Sister, he has a waistcoat on, and look, he's taking a watch out of it. Oh, Alice, what nonsense.
Oh dear, I shall be late.
Sister, did you hear that? Hear what? The rabbit. He looked at his watch, and then he spoke. Oh, Alice, your imagination. Alice, come back here. Where do you go? I've got to see the rabbit again, sister. Oh, dear. He just popped into that hole under the hedge. But it's such a very large rabbit hole. Perhaps I could squeeze through. There. I can still see him. He's down at the end. Oh, I must hurry. I'm falling. I'm falling.
Falling down what seems to be a very deep well.
Either the well was very deep, or she fell very slowly, for she had plenty of time to look about her and notice that the sides of the well were filled with cupboards and bookshelves.
After such a fall as this, I shall think nothing of tumbling downstairs. Why, I wouldn't say anything about it, even if I fell off the top of the house.
Which is very likely true.
Down, down, down. Alice became very drowsy, and she had almost fallen asleep when...
Oh, gracious, I've landed. I ought to be hurt, but I don't seem to be. Now, where is the white rabbit? Oh, there he goes.
Oh, my ears whistle. Oh, make it getting.
He's turned the corner of the passage. Oh, I mustn't lose him.
But when Alice turned the corner, the rabbit was no longer to be seen. she found herself in a long, low hall with doors all around it, all locked. In the middle was a little three-legged table of solid glass, with nothing on it but a tiny golden key.
Alice tries the key in the various doors of the hall, but either the locks are too large or the key is too small. Now she sees a little door about 15 inches high. She tries the little golden key in the lock, and it fits. Alice is opening the door. Now she is kneeling to look through the passage. It leads to a lovely garden, but she can't even get her head through the doorway.
And even if my head would go through, it would be of very little use without my shoulders. Oh, how I wish I could shut up like a telescope. I think I could if I only knew how to begin.
Alice is returning to the table now. She's looking for another key, or perhaps a book of rules for shutting people up like telescopes. She doesn't find either, but there is a little bottle there.
Which certainly wasn't here before.
Around the neck of the bottle is a paper label with the words, "Drink me," beautifully printed on it in large letters.
Drink me. No. I look first and see whether it's marked poison.
But the bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it, and finding it very nice,
It has, in fact, a sort of mixed flavor of cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast.
she very soon finished it off.
What a curious feeling. I must be shutting up like a telescope.
She is shrinking. She is now only 10 inches high. She's about the size to go through the door into the lovely garden now. She's a little nervous, though, afraid she might shrink too far.
It might end, you know, in my going out altogether like a candle. I wonder what I should be like then.
Fortunately, nothing more happened, but alas for poor Alice. She had left the little golden key on the table, and though she could see it quite plainly through the glass, she was now much too small to reach it. Soon her eye fell on a little glass box that was lying under the table. She opened it and found in it a very small cake on which the words, "Eat me," were beautifully marked in currants.
Well, I'll eat it, and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key. And if it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door. So either way, I'll get into the garden, and I don't care much which happens. Now, which way? Which way?
She's holding her hand on the top of her head to feel which way she is growing.
Curiouser and curiouser.
She is so surprised she quite forgets to speak good English.
Now I'm opening up like the largest telescope that ever was.
Her head strikes against the roof of the hall. She is now more than 9 feet high. She takes up the little golden key and hurries off to the garden door.
Poor Alice. It was as much as she could do, lying down on one side to look into the garden with one eye. But to get through the little door was more hopeless than ever. She sat down and began to cry again.
She might well say this.
But she went on just the same, shedding gallons of tears until there was a large puddle around her, about 4 inches deep and reaching halfway down the hall. After a time, she heard a little pattering of feet in the distance, and she hastily dried her eyes as the white rabbit returned, this time splendidly dressed with a pair of white kid gloves in one hand and a large fan in the other. He came trotting along in a great hurry, muttering to himself as he came.
Oh, the Duchess! Oh, won't she be savage if I kept her waiting?
If you please, sir.
Oh, my ears and whiskers!
Sir, you dropped your glass and your fan.
Oh, my ears and whiskers!
And the white rabbit was gone. Alice took up the fan and gloves, and as the hall was very hot, she started to fan herself.
I must be going small again. I am. Now I'm only 2 feet high. I shall go out altogether. It must be the fan. Oh, that was a narrow escape. If I hadn't dropped that fan, it would have been the end of me. But now I'm small enough to get through the door.
And Alice finds herself up to her chin in salt water, swimming around in the pool of the tears she had wept when she was 9 feet high.
I wish I hadn't cried so much. I shall be punished for it now, I suppose, by being drowned in my own tears. That would be a queer thing, to be sure. However, everything is queer today. Oh, what a fearful racket. It must at least be a walrus or a hippopotamus. Oh, no. I forgot how small I've grown. It's only a mouse. But it is bigger than I am. Oh, mouse, do you know the way out of this pool? I'm very tired of swimming about here. Oh, mouse. Perhaps it doesn't understand English. I dare say it's a French mouse. Come over with William the Conqueror.
First sentence in Alice's French book. Translation, where is my cat? The mouse doesn't like the reference in English or in French.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I quite forgot you didn't like cats. Not like cats. But would you like cats if you were me? Well, perhaps not. But I do wish I could show you our cat, Dinah. She's such a capital one for catching mice. Oh, I do beg your pardon. We won't talk about her anymore, if you'd rather not. Indeed. And then I would talk on such a subject. Our family always hated cats. Nasty, low, vulgar things. So let me have a again. I won't indeed. I promise. Oh, very well, then. But it's good to be sure. And I'll tell you my history. And you'll understand why it is that I hate cats.
It was high time to go, for the pool was getting quite crowded with the birds and animals that had fallen into it. There was a duck, and a dodo, a lory, and an eaglet, and several other curious creatures. Alice led the way, and the whole party swam ashore.
They are indeed a queer-looking party as they assemble on the bank. The birds with draggled feathers, the animals with their fur clinging closely to them, and all dripping wet and cross and uncomfortable. The first question, of course, is how to get dry again, and an argument ensues, which the dodo, who seems to be a person of some authority, finally ends.
Quiet, all of you. If you really want to get dry, then the best way is caucus race.
What is a caucus race?
Why, the only way to explain it is to do it.
And as you might like to try the thing yourself some winter day, I will tell you how the dodo managed it. First, it marked out a race course in sort of a circle.
Though it said the exact shape didn't matter.
And then everybody was placed along the course here and there. There was no 1, 2, 3 and away, but they began running when they liked and left off when they liked, so that it was not easy to know when the race was over. However, when they had been running half an hour or so, the dodo suddenly called out,
"The race is over."
But who is that?
How are we to know?
Just a minute. Just a minute. Let me think. Everybody has won, and all must have prizes.
Prizes? But who is the gift of prizes?
She, of course.
Me?
Yes, you.
Alice had no idea what to do, and in despair she put her hand in her pocket and pulled out a box of candy
Lucky the salt water had not got into it.
and handed them around as prizes. There was exactly one apiece all around.
But she must have a prize herself, you know.
Of course. What else have you got in your pocket, little girl?
Oh, only a thimble.
Hand it over here.
There.
Thank you. We beg your acceptance of this elegant thimble. And now, while we eat our prizes...
I can't eat mine. It's a thimble.
You're lucky.
My pudding.
Here, some of you cut his back. I can't taste mine. It's too small.
I'm sorry. It's the best I could do. Oh, Mouse, you promised, you know. Promise what? To tell me your history and why you hate... you know what? Oh, I live alone and sad tale of old me. I can see it's a long tale, oh, Mouse. But why is it sad? You insult me by talking such nonsense. Oh, I really meant nothing. But you're so easily offended, you know. I am afraid. I am very much afraid that you are a waste of time. Oh, please come back and tell us your story.
What a pity he wouldn't stay.
I wish our Dinah were here. She'd soon fetch it back.
And who is Dinah, if I might venture to ask a question?
Dinah's our cat. And she's a capital one for catching mice. And, oh, I wish you could see her after the bird. Why, she is a little bird as soon as you look at it. And... oh, I wish I hadn't mentioned Dinah. Nobody seems to like her down here. And I'm sure she's the best cat in the world. Oh, my poor Dinah. I wonder if I shall ever see you anymore. There's no sort of use in crying about it. I shall never get out of here unless I set about growing to my right size again. But the great question is how?
Suddenly, Alice noticed a large mushroom growing near her about the same height as herself. And on top of it, a large blue caterpillar was sitting with his arms folded, quietly smoking a long hookah. The caterpillar took his languid time about noticing Alice.
And, who are you?
I hardly know, sir, just at present. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir, because I'm not myself, you see?
I don't see.
I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly. Well, I can't understand it myself to begin with. And seeing so many different sizes in a day is very confusing.
It isn't.
If you changed as much as I have today, you'd feel a little queer, too.
Not a bit.
Well, perhaps your feelings are different. But it feels very queer to me.
You? Well, who are you?
I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why?
Oh, I'm afraid we're not getting anywhere at all.
Come back here. I've something important to say.
Well, what is it?
Keep your temper.
Is that all?
Yes. Good day to you, my dear.
But...
One side will make you grow taller. The other side will make you grow shorter.
One side of what? The other side of what?
Of the mushroom.
Now, how can he tell which are the two sides of the mushroom when it's perfectly round? Maybe if I stretch my arms around as far as they can go and break off a bit of the edge with each hand. There. And now, which is which? I guess I'll try the right hand piece first. Oh! I'm getting smaller so quick my chin hit my foot. I'll have to eat some of the left hand piece right away. It is so hard to get my mouth open. Oh, there. Whoa, my head's free at last.
As she grew larger, she saw across the top of the mushroom a little house about 4 feet high.
I can never visit that lovely place if I go to my full size, so I'd better stop here.
She is nibbling a little on the right hand piece. Now a quick nibble on the left hand piece. She is now established at 9 inches.
As she approached the house, a fish, dressed in a footman's livery, came running out of the woods and rapped loudly on the door. It was opened by another footman in livery, who was really a frog. Alice crept behind a bush to listen, as the fish footman presented a great letter nearly as large as himself.
For the Duchess, an invitation from the Queen to play croquet. From the Queen, an invitation to the Duchess to play croquet.
They both bowed, and the curls of their white wigs got entangled together. Alice laughed so much at this that she had to run back into the woods for fear of their hearing her. And when she peeped out, the fish footman was gone, and the frog footman was sitting on the ground near the door, staring stupidly up to the sky. Alice went up to the door and knocked.
There's no sort of use in knocking, and that for 2 reasons. First, because I'm on the same side of the door as you are. And second, because they're making so much noise inside that no one could possibly hear you.
Please, then, how am I to get in?
There might be some sense in your knocking if we have the door between us. For instance, if you were inside, you might knock, and I might let you out, you know.
But how am I to get in?
I shall sit here till tomorrow, or the next day, maybe.
How am I to get in?
Are you to get in at all? That's the first question, you know.
Oh, it's very dreadful the way all you creatures argue. It's enough to drive one crazy.
I shall sit here on and off for days and days.
But what have I to do?
Anything you like.
Then I'll go in anyway.
The door leads into a large kitchen. It is full of smoke. The Duchess is sitting on a 3-legged stool, nursing a baby. The cook is stirring a large cauldron of soup, and she throws pepper into it by the shaker bowl. A large cat is lying on the hearth, grinning from ear to ear. He doesn't sneeze. Neither does the cook, but everyone else does.
Please, would you tell me why your cat grins like that?
It's a treasure cat, and that's why. Pig.
Were you speaking to me?
No, I was speaking to this brat.
Oh.
Rock for you. Take that.
What are you throwing the pots and pans at the baby for?
That happens every afternoon at your little boy. Oh, and to beat him when he sneezes. He's only does it to annoy. Because he knows it sneezes. Here, you may nurse it a bit if you like.
Please, I'm nearly exhausted.
I must go and get ready to play croquet with the queen.
Take that, you cold! Mr.
If I don't take this child away with me, they're sure to kill it in a day or two. It would really be committing murder to leave it behind. Oh, don't squeal, my dear. That's not at all the proper way of expressing yourself. If you're going to turn into a pig, my dear, I'll have nothing more to do with you. Mind now. Now, what am I going to do when I get this figure home? I guess there'll be no taking you home. You'll be happier up there in the woods. Oh, run along. If it had grown up, it would have made a dreadfully ugly child. But it makes rather a handsome pig, I think.
And she began thinking over other children she knew who might do very well as pigs, when she was a little startled to see the Cheshire Cat sitting in the bough of a tree a few yards off.
Hello, Cheshire Puss. Would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here?
That depends a good deal upon where you want to get to.
I don't care. Where?
And it doesn't matter which way you go.
What sort of people live round here?
That direction lives the Hatter. That direction lives the Marquette. Visit either, both of them.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad. You're mad.
How do you know I'm mad?
Oh, must be. Wouldn't have come here. Oh, you'll play croquet with the queen today?
I should like it very much, but I haven't been invited yet.
You'll see me there.
Well, he's disappeared into thin air. No, here he comes back.
Bye. What became of the baby? I nearly forgot to ask.
It turned into a pig.
I always thought it would.
I wonder if he's disappeared for good now. Well, who shall I go to visit? I've seen hatters before, so I imagine the lost hair will be the most interesting. And since this is May, it won't be raving mad. At least not so mad as it was in March.
Oh, did you say pig or fig?
I said pig.
All right.
This time it vanished quite slowly, beginning with the end of the tail and ending with the grin which remained some time after the rest of it had gone.
So ends the first half of the Columbia Workshop dramatization of Alice in Wonderland. Next Sunday at this same time, the workshop will present the second half of this immortal classic, Alice's visit to the Mad Tea Party, the Queen's Croquet Games, the Mock Turtle Story, the Lobster Quadrille, and the exciting climax, when all Wonderland attends the trial to determine who stole the toy. The Columbia Workshop radio version of Alice in Wonderland has been adapted and directed by William N. Robeson. Paul Starrett and Leif Stevens wrote the original musical score, and Mr. Stevens conducted the orchestra. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.